Good morning, all. I have got my my honeypots connected to their new Nucleus 2 formicarium, so they are currently in their original talus inception chamber. And so I've got them connected, and worker ants are slowly making their way over there. I haven't seen them move any of the brood yet. When I moved the young colony into this talus from Tar Heel ants I believe it was late last year, from their test tube setup, the queen was very stubborn. She just did not want to move. So my suspicion is that I'm going to run into the same problem moving them into their new habitat. Now, when talking to Mac over at Tar Heel Ants, I kind of expected this. So we went back and forth. I ordered a couple different units, and finally, I kept changing the order, and finally settled on the Nucleus 2, based on this species. One of the things I really like about it, I'll take a shot here in a little bit, is that I have the ability to connect the Nucleus to a secondary habitat down the road. One of my requirements was the ability to do this. I was very nervous about trying to, if the colony does expand, trying to move them into a larger habitat, because the queen is so stubborn when it comes to moving. And also with the repletes, obviously, as you can see right back there, we've got the repletes, and there's not a ton of information from ant keepers out there regarding this particular species. There are a few, but not a lot. But they're not very mobile, so once they start to swell up, they're just going to hang. I had one that fell down, and it was so big, it couldn't get back up, and eventually died. So the ants just let it. I don't know what they did, but it stayed in the formicarium, or stayed in the nest, I should say, for probably a good 2 weeks, and then I don't know if they fed off of it, and then they finally removed it from the nest so it could be disposed. But my hope is to get the queen and get the repletes into a more permanent home, and if the nest or if the colony expands, and I can just continue to connect additional nests to the Nucleus 2. That way the queen and the repletes, they don't have to move. So that was kind of my thought process. Time will tell. I've got one other colony that's successful that is also in fact a honeypot species, and I collected about 12 queens about 2 weeks ago here in Tucson during the monsoons, and out of those 12, I believe there's 3 or 4 that are of the honeypot species, and I'll have to practice saying the scientific name because I just can't pronounce it. But they're very fun to watch. The ants are incredibly quick. You don't see it here, but when they're out in the foraging area, and I feed them a lot of crickets and fruit flies, as well as honey, stuff to that effect, sweet sugar water. Fruit, lots of fruit. They do like fruit. I do feed them little cherry tomatoes. See if I can readjust here. What's very interesting with the cherry tomatoes, so I cut them in half, put them in the foraging area, and usually around 8:30 at night, I keep these guys in my garage just because of the temperature, but 8:30 at night they'll actually bring the brood, particularly the pupae, out, and they will surround them around the base of the tomato. So if you can imagine a little cherry tomato cut in half, the cut side open, side facing up, so the skin's facing down, and they would just surround the pupae around the skin portion of it, and come morning they're usually pulling them back into the nest. So pretty fascinating, and I've only seen this colony do it. My other species of honeypot, well, same species, but my other colony, I haven't seen them do the same thing. So anyway, this is just kind of a little shot inside the nest. I'm kind of excited to see them move, but I also don't want to rush them. I am curious how they're going to move the repletes, and part of me, I'm exposing them to a little bit of light, which I've kept this colony pretty dark. I haven't, they've always been covered, except for when I'm filming. Part of me feels that the queen and the repletes are just going to stay in here, and they may or may not move the colony. I don't know. We'll have to see, because I don't know how those repletes are going to move, to be perfectly honest. They're big, they're not mobile, so I'm not quite certain. I'm not quite certain if they're going to be able to move, but time will tell. I don't want to rush them over, so that's more of a character flaw on my end. I want everything right now, immediate gratification. I want them to move, and one theory is expose them to a bunch of light, but I don't want to stress them out. The other is to let this nest dry out, so stop filling the tower and keep the new nest hydrated. I'm definitely gonna keep the new nest hydrated. I just don't know if I want to purposely make this incredibly unpleasant habitat, because again, I don't know if the colony is going to force the queen and her pleats to move. I'm very new at this, so time will tell. But I am very happy with the new formicarium. I'll take a picture of that here in a moment. And the worker ants are going over there. They've pretty much explored the entire nest. They're up in the foraging area of the nucleus too. So I mean, they are definitely over there. They're aware that it exists. Be right back. So here's my nucleus 2, the foraging area. As you can see, we've got some ants already foraging up there, and you can see the tomato. Like I said, I know that they like putting their pupae up there, so I thought that might be a draw to them. So I wanted to put that in there last night. Last night. A little bit of honey. So yeah, they're very aware that it exists. I haven't put any fluon around the corners yet. I probably need to do that pretty soon. And the fluon that I got from Target Ants works wonderful. I have it on all my my other units. You can see there that they are moving around. They're running back and forth. The red film, I usually have that covering the actual opening, the nest area. I've got it exposed right now, but as you can see this is my, let me move over here. This is my other honeypot colony. I'm not going to be removing the red film, but they're in there. They've got one replete. So I just took some cardboard, covered up the nest. I'd like them to take up one side with the two water towers. There's 2 water towers on one side and one on the other side of this nucleus. So look there, you can see them walking the edge. Definitely worth putting some of that fluon on there, because it will keep them off the edge. I'm not really concerned right now, but and I'm sorry, I mentioned earlier that when they're in the foraging area, these ants are incredibly quick. Sometimes I get distracted, but they are very fast. You don't see it right here, but there are a few times when they start jetting around, and it's almost like they're fast forward. They're phenomenally quick. So anyway, so here's the nucleus 2. This is the side with the 2 water towers. Mac did a wonderful job. I could fill them up from the outside. There's that one, and then on the other side you've got 2 points to fill up. That's the bottom one is for this side, and the top one's for the water tower on the other side, which I'm going to leave dry. When they enter, so right now they're entering into the nest on the other side, the single water tower side, and same goes when they enter the nest from the foraging area. But I'm going to try to make this this side more attractive to them. My only real concern, which I've expressed with Mac, is I really wanted them to be on a double water tower side, but everything feeds into the single side, and I was going to plug it up with cotton so that they couldn't get to the other side until the colony was large enough. And I really won't be able to do that the way this setup is configured, which is unfortunate. And next time I do this, I'm going to put a little more thought in it and let Mac know. And he's shown to be very accommodating if you want to make some changes. But he doesn't know what I'm thinking. And as I do this, I get the experience. Gives me better ideas on how I'd like to do things in the future. So I just have to communicate with Mac, and he's up to this point been very accommodating to me. So I'll just communicate better in the future. But all in all, I'm very, very happy with this setup. I think they're going to be very happy here, and you can see they're definitely aware. I did have to modify I couldn't get a tube to actually fit in there, so I had to modify the connection tube, but that was no big deal. A little bit of put it on the belt sander and was able to make that work, cleaned it up, and popped it right in there. But yeah, there you go, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And again, Mac is also very accommodating at Tar Heel Ads if you have any questions. These are not cheap setups, but they are very rewarding. Okay, just one more shot. I guess I'll show you some of the queens I've collected. So these are some of my current queens. That far left, I just put a sesame seed in there. I believe it's a Pogonomerics, and they're supposed to like seeds. But so most of these guys have already laid eggs, except for this one, this golden brown one. I thought I saw some eggs very early on. I don't see any right now, which is unfortunate because I think it's just a beautiful queen. Oh wait, there looks like there's one egg right there. I stand corrected. I'm really anxious to see this colony. I'm hoping it survives. It's the first queen of that color, so I'm pretty excited about that one. But I believe second to the end, I believe that's the same species of my honeypot, so I'm relatively confident. This one's slightly smaller, not sure of the species, but I've noticed ones with the super large gasters. Because I believe these three right here pictured, I believe these are all honeypots. I think this golden brown one, I believe it's a honeypot, just a different species. This one, not so sure. Not so sure. Originally, when I picked them up, I thought they were all Pogonomerics. They were very. They looked like they're semi-claustral, like they had a nest and were moving around. Sorry to cut that last one short. I hate bothering those new queens. It's the stress can't be good on them, so I wanted to cut that one real quick.